Some of you may know that Ms. Zengraff is retiring at the end of this year. Some of you may only know her as the lady in the front office who hands out green cards and says good morning when you come to sign in. But these are not the only or even the most important things that Ms. Z has done for our school community. Her love and care for all students and faculty in this school is what really makes Ms. Z so special and what I and many others will miss most next year. Ms. Z has created a welcoming home for many of us in the Dean's office by bringing in all the essentials for necessities of a comforting environment, from the essential oil diffuser to the lollipops and gumballs on her desk to the pet frog Gilbert. Whenever you walk in the Dean's office, it feels like home. I cannot count the number of times that I've gone down to the Dean's office this year and just spent 10 or 15 minutes talking to Mrs. Z and working on a puzzle during a free period or before a math test. Mrs. Z made it a great place to come and talk out problems or just distress between classes. Even if you haven't spent as much time with Mrs. Z as I have over the past year, she always knew what was going on in students' lives, and she was always there to be the first one to congratulate you after passing your driver's test or to console you if your goldfish died. This loving environment that Mrs. Z has created for all of us and the genuine concern that she gives every student and member of faculty is what truly makes her irreplaceable in my mind.
Hey, Mrs. Binney, how would you like to honor 32 years of service in a few short minutes? Sure, talk about a daunting task, but I'll do my best. I could stand here and speak to her amazing ability to know every student and parent by name, her ability to decipher the most difficult voicemail, her meticulous tracking of every student out sick, at athletics, taking an exam, on a field trip, on any given day. But I know that the school will find someone to replace those tasks. What they can never replace is my school mom. 7 years ago, I was filling in as a long-term substitute for health, essentially a young teacher without a home base who floated between the Croft basement and the athletic department. I was asked to lunch by Mrs. McPherson one day, and that's where I met Mrs. Z. And my experience at Shady Academy changed forever. She quickly became the first person I turned to for all of my questions. She always has the answer. But more than being the all-knowing oracle of the senior school, she quickly became a friend. And just as she is a mother to her 3 wonderful boys, I soon felt like part of her family. She's the first person to text and ask about one of my sick kids. She makes sure that I always get something to eat on my busiest school days, and she always encourages me to take time for myself and get plenty of rest. When one of my current advisees learned of Mrs. Z's pending retirement, she got teary-eyed, a reaction that I didn't quite understand. This student is a senior and will move on after this year anyway. Then I realized she was sad for another reason. The school as she knew it will never be the same. When she comes back to visit, she won't be welcomed by Mrs. Z. She won't have Gilbert, lollipops, or gumballs, and that future generations of Shadyside students will never know the kind, loving person who, to many of us, is the heart and soul of Shadyside Academy. So please join me and Julia in wishing Mrs. Z and Mr. Z a happy retirement. They will be truly missed, but it is well deserved.
I remember walking towards Ms. Crowland's office, daunted by the tight, shadowed hallway and the darkened painting of the Navajo code talkers. I heard a friendly Chicago accent greeting me from inside. After a few minutes of pleasantries, I heard a slight change in her voice, and she was ready to talk business. Many other students have experienced the same thing, one of whom told me Ms. Crowland knows everything there is about our campus. Today, I would like to congratulate Ms. Crowland on her retirement after 40 years here at Shadyside. She has been a math teacher, advisor, dean of students, dean of studies, dean of faculty, interim assistant head of school, Posner Award recipient, and the award-winning coach of the speech and debate team. Ms. Crowland has a kind, respectful spirit with just a hint of competitiveness, which makes her a wonderful speech and debate coach. Thank you, Ms. Crowland, for all that you have done for me and all of the students whose lives your kindness and knowledge has touched.
In all honesty, we have no idea what we could possibly say that would do justice to everything Miss Crowland has done for Shady Side. The countless hours she spent organizing and preparing behind the scenes with a smile on her face, even when things don't always run smoothly, have impacted each and every one of us. But it's not only all that she's done to create, organize, and improve our academic programs that sets her apart. She's one of those rare people who can be disciplined and relaxed at the same time, focusing all our efforts on our improvements. Miss Crowland was one of the first teachers I ever met at Shady Side, and through all my time here, she's never failed to lend a helping hand when I most needed it. And while Miss Crowland is internationally respected for her work with speech and debate, she's even more loved for who she is as a person: kind, driven, compassionate, ready to help, and an exemplary of the qualities of a great coach, teacher, and overall person. I often remember her pep talks before big tournaments, especially when we would go against the army of NA kids. Literally, the size of their team is equal to like everyone in this auditorium. But it was in those moments that she reminded us why we were there, that we would do excellently if we just put our minds to it. Miss Crowland, you are an inspiration, and we are all so glad to have had you here. Thank you.